ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा कुंज विहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, text number 20 and 21. Anyonyam asita sanjalpa Anyonyam asita sanjalpa Uttama shloka chetasam Kauravendra purastrinam Sarvashruti manoharaha. 20 and 21. Anyonyam asit sanjalpa Uttama shloka chetasam Kauravendra purastrinam Sarvashruti manoharaha. Anyonyam, among each other. Asit, there was. Sanjalpaha, talking. Uttama Shloka, the Supreme who is praised by selected poetry. Chetasam, of those whose hearts are absorbed in that way. Kaurava Indra, the king of the Kurus. Pura, capital. Trinam, all the ladies. Sarva, all. Shruti, the Vedas. Manaharaha, attractive to the mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is glorified in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapur began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. Please repeat. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is glorified in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapur began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said that in all the Vedic literature the goal is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Actually, the glories of the Lord are depicted in such literatures as the Vedas, Ramayana and Mahabharata, and in the Bhagavatam they are specifically mentioned in respect to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, while the ladies on the tops of the houses in the capital of the king of the Kuru dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talk was more pleasing than the Vedic hymns. Anything sung in the praise of the Lord is Shruti Mantra. There are songs of Thakur Narottam Das, one of the Acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Thakur Vishwanath Chakravarti, another very learned Acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs by Thakur Narottam Das to be as good as Vedic mantras. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. The ladies who were all absorbed in the thought and actions of the Lord developed the consciousness of Vedic wisdom by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, although such ladies might not have been learned scholars in Sanskrit or otherwise, still whatever they spoke was more attractive than the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymns in the Upanishads are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord, but the talks of the ladies were directly spoken of the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. The ladies' talk appeared to be more valuable than the learned Brahmana's benedictions. I think we'll just take this one. 21 will not take. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamin Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Anyonyam Asita Sanjalpa Uttama Shloka Chetasam Kauravendra Purastrinam Sarvashuti Manoharaha. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is glorified in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapur began to talk of him, this talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. So now, Sutta Goswami is describing further that how the ladies were taking darshan of Krishna from the rooftop. And naturally, when there are ladies, they cannot keep quiet. There's a group of ladies, especially, there. So they're chit-chatting actually. But they're all talking about Krishna. So since they were talking about Krishna, their talk was very sweet, very pleasing. Manoharaha. It's very interesting, like gossip is, generally when ladies talk, they just, we say, not that they always talk like that, but generally they say it's all gossip. And when they talk, simultaneously, then nobody can hear what's going on. My grandfather told a small thing, story. He says, when a group of ladies went to Niagara Falls, and there, they had a guide who was telling them everything, showing them everything. So, after about a few minutes, the guide said, ladies, if you can keep quiet for a minute, then we can all hear Niagara Falls. I don't know if somebody has gone there, you can see that it's so roaring sound. But the talk of the ladies was drowning even that sound. So, in a way, it looks like very mundane, but here it's a totally opposite situation. The ladies are talking about Krishna, how Krishna was doing things, how he saved all the Pandavas, how he defeated everybody, how he did not take up weapon, everything, all the whole talking different pastimes of Krishna to each other. And because of that, whole talk became very attractive. More attractive than the Shrutis. Vedas are Shrutis and Puranas are Smritis. Shruti means to hear and Smriti means to remember. So, generally people think that Vedas are the highest. Of course, they are no doubt they are at a very high level, but not the highest, because Vedas, as Prabhupada explains, discuss about Krishna indirectly. There's very few direct references. That's why the Mayavadis and other people, they say that, oh, you're talking of Krishna, but Vedas don't mention. Like Bhagavatam is not Vedas, but even Bhagavatam doesn't mention Radharani. So they just say, let's look at that, from where this Radharani came. There is no mention anywhere in the Vedas or Puranas. But we know that she is Adi Lakshmi. We know that she is the original consort of Krishna. And that Shukadeva Goswami explains that he did not, because he was so much attached to Radharani, that he thought that if he uses the word Radha, he'll go mad in ecstasy, and then he will not be able to narrate the Bhagavatam. That is the level at which he was. So here, in Krishna, Prabhupada says in purport that Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita that the whole purpose of knowing Vedas is to know Krishna. The whole purpose. And then, so here what is happening? They are only talking about Krishna. So they are fulfilling the purpose of the Vedas. And that talk is the highest. Here also in the temple, when we have Krishna Katha, it's so pleasing. Like now we are having this Hari Katha. But sometimes, the moment the program is over and when we are sitting for lunch or prasadam together, Unfortunately, some people start talking the mundane things again. Politics, cricket, who is winning, who is losing, less gadgets, what's happening in the market, like they just forget why they have come here. So they should learn, everybody should learn from this Matajis. All the time they're talking only about Krishna. Especially when Krishna is there. Okay, I can understand that 24/7 they are not talking about Krishna. But in front of Krishna, they are talking of Krishna. So when you come to the temple, you are in front of Krishna. Right? Temples are meant for that, that okay, you spare some time to go to a temple so that you are fully absorbed in Krishna conscious activity. But unfortunately, as I said, people miss that point. People think that it's just a social gathering. Sometimes people think like that. So I can meet my friend there. She says, "Oh, are you coming to the temple? I'll be there." "Oh, okay, you are coming, so I will also come." Like that, so that they can discuss their mundane gossip. So, as I keep saying, that we have to learn from everything in Bhagavatam. This is one great knowledge here, that if you talk about Krishna, there is no loss for you. You get all the spiritual, transcendental bliss. Take advantage. Whoever we are talking to, even when you are talking to others, as far as possible, talk about Krishna. At least say something about Krishna. The name Krishna will attract, because it's a spiritual name that will attract others also. So not that we are trying to convert people or something like that, but we want them to understand their position and take advantage of this. So this I remember this particular shloka when I gave a class on this in Bangalore about quite a long back, at least 10 years back, 10, 11 years back, and because I went to the temple, their local temple, and they invited me to speak, and this was the verse. I still remember that because there are a lot of discussions on this verse. That's how I remember. So let's stop here. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.